Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Kill10Rats. Welcome back to the Age of Decadence. We are back with the Gaul, our would-be master conspirator, and we're now in the noble quarter of Maduran, trying to rope in support for, well, nominally for the Merchants Guild's plot, but really just pushing it as far as we can to see which side of the fence we can ultimately fall on that profits us the most. Like, you know, do we actually want to go through with this, or do we want to turn the tables on Strabos at some point? But for the moment, we would probably be best advised to just go through with at least the first stage of the plan. And that includes going to both Senna and Lorenza. So we'll start with Senna. The guard will let us in because we invoke Master Strabos' name, which is quite convenient, and here we are with Lord Senna. Lord Senna has served 3 lords of House Aurelian, a fact attesting to his ability to make himself indispensable and a character of unwavering loyalty. While he was indeed a very capable administrator, which explained the former, he was an extremely cautious man who had a tendency to label all risks unnecessary, which explained the latter. Yet after more than 40 years of service, he became less and less satisfied with the role of a servant and thus more open to the idea of taking risks. So we'll greet him. "How may I be of service?" asks Senna, his voice showing neither the desire to be of service nor any interest in your problems. "I am working for Master Strabos. He seeks your wisdom and opinion on certain subjects." "Your master gives me too much credit. What does he wish to know?" And here we sort of are uncharacteristically blunt. I really wish there was another conversation option here that allows us to immediately not be an idiot, but you know, there is an option for a nice save, so we'll do that once we've fucked up. "Lord Gallius' days are numbered. Will you support Serenus as his successor?" Lord Senna raises his eyebrow at the way you approach the subject and smiles slightly. "I am Lord Gallius' loyal subject," he says in the same casual tone, sounding neither offended nor particularly loyal. "Out of respect for your master, I shall assume that your question was mostly theoretical and won't mention it to my liege. And our intelligence allows us to use Streetwise to turn this around. My apologies, I misspoke. I meant to say that Lord Gallius is a mere mortal, unfortunately, and that sooner or later the question of succession will have to be raised. In my opinion, sooner is always better than later when it comes to such things. Your master's concerns for the fate of the city are touching. I hope he doesn't lose too much sleep over them. As for the matter of succession, there are many suitable candidates. Should the unthinkable happen, they will all be considered. Isn't that what's best for the city? Well, which candidate would you support, my lord?" "It is hard to say right now. There are so many things to consider." And again, we have options. Charisma is pretty awful for us, but fortunately we have persuasion. "Indeed, the right candidate should possess a lot of qualities, but I believe that it is the willingness to listen to well-meant counsel that will set him apart from all the others." So here we're basically like laying out the plan of putting a puppet on the throne. "It does appear to be an important quality, doesn't it? And who's better to guide our new liege to greatness than you, my lord?" "Well, if you put it this way, how can I refuse my sacred duty to the city? Tell Master Strabos that he can count on my support should the unthinkable happen, of course." So we have talked him around. That's actually where this is the part of it that we are basically most suited for, to talk this guy around. This one's gonna be a little tougher because she's not willing to come around to Strabos' side fully, but since we aren't really on Strabos' side, but we're on our own side, that's not too much of a problem. "Lady Lorenza Calani of House Calani was married 5 times. All 5 husbands died in unfortunate accidents, adding their wealth and power to House Calani. Lorenza blamed assassins and other houses. House Aurelian blamed Lorenza's lust for power and claimed, as a warning to others, that the cold and calculating bitch would never be satisfied with being a mere wife. Neither the warning nor the popular opinion, suggesting that one explanation doesn't necessarily exclude the other, had any effect on the prominent suitors who seemed to surround Lorenza at all times." So she sounds like a bit of a handful. Read her. The Gaul, the vanquisher of Commander Carinas. What a delightful and completely unexpected surprise. Does word travel that fast? The word? No, people in my employ do. It used to be my family city, did I tell you that? I knew that Strabos summoned someone before the ink on his letter had any chance to dry. I suppose I could have waited, but I do like to know what I'm working with. So, it's you against the most powerful man of the realm. Do you really think you have what it takes? And there's only one way to find out, is my preferred answer, because, you know, I represent the guild, I don't stand alone, is sort of a bit too trusting. How delightfully bold. Then again, what is it that you really stand to lose? You're a nobody. No name, no reputation, no assets. If you weren't bold, you would have had nothing at all. And I stand to lose my life. It's much more important to me than your assets. Well, at least you're honest. It's a refreshing quality in this city, although it does cast some doubt on your usefulness. Your support is very important to us. I dare say it is, but what will I be getting out of this? Will I get my city? Are you going to return it to its rightful owners? Do you really expect me to? I expect nothing and everything at the same time, but enough about me. What do you expect? What do you want to get out of it? I want to make a name for myself and see where it takes me. An ambitious man. Welcome to Teron then. I know you will enjoy your stay. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have people to see. This must be the impatience of youth I've heard so much about, says Lorenza with a tolerant smile. I'll be honest with you. As much as I despise Gallius, I despise the idea of Lord Strabus putting Serena's strings even more. Am I alone in such concerns? Well, persuasion and trading is not going to be enough. We're going to fail that check because we aren't really a merchant, so we're not that invested in trading. I think there isn't really a way to talk her around to supporting Strabos because she's too much of her own faction. But we can get her support if we tell her that Serenus is nothing but a puppet. Without someone pulling his strings, he might just crumble into a heap. I feel that I'm perfectly capable of pulling his strings all by myself. I hardly need Strabos there to assist me, do I? You don't, but you need Strabos to put Serenus on the throne. And once he's on the throne, inquires Lorenza, looking past you. And here is basically, it's coming to a head. If you ask her to honor the agreement, she's gonna not agree to the terms. Or rather, she's not gonna say no, but she's not gonna say yes either. However, what do we care what Strabos, what happens to Strabos after this? He is pretty much not gonna care what happens to us either, so we'll not stand in her way. Then we have a deal, tells Strabos he has my support. So that's 2 down. That is a start. We do have the Imperial Guard still to contend with as well. So I guess that's our next port of call. We'll go to the arena. We do actually still have the quest to talk to this guy, so we'll just have a quick word. The arena master looks at you appraisingly and gives you the most convincing fake smile you've ever seen, beckoning you to come closer. Judging by the number of rings on his finger, business is good. Look what crawled out of some shithole and made its way to our glorious city, or what's left of it. Seeking your fortune in the big city, I take it? Well, how about a job in the entertainment industry? What kind of entertainment? The arena master grins. The best kind. Fight in the arena to amuse the crowd and make a name for yourself. Everything your victims have is yours. What do you say? Why not? You're wise beyond your years, my friend. Why not indeed? Your first opponent is a newcomer like you, fancies himself a thief. Poor bastard thinks we live like animals, without rules and laws. He thought anyone can come here and start picking pockets without getting the guild's blessing first, so the guild turned him in. He doesn't look like the fighting sort, but he claims he killed a man or two. I know, hardly worth your time, but what do you expect me to do? Let him go. Just enter the arena, gut him like a fish, and we'll continue this conversation. Who's the guild? Not from around here, are you? I was talking about the 40 Thieves Guild, one of the oldest in the Empire. The name goes back to the good old days when kingpins from the 40 largest cities of the Empire controlled pretty much everything that the law frowned upon. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have a business to run, so are you going to fight or not? Maybe later. So we've gained a brawler rank, and that's about as far as I want to take it here, because even though the guy has probably, not really any chops regarding being a fighter, and if we were a fighting character, we'd probably easily cut him in half. we will still very likely go down if we try to fight him. So we approach the legionary, and we can't really talk to him, but we can make it inside if we again invoke Strabos' name. And we are going to go to the legatus so we can secure their support. Hello there, Pavola. An observant person could deduce much about Legatus Pavola by his rank and posting. Maduran is the last place where troubles are expected, which means that the Legatus' abilities weren't needed elsewhere, which means they weren't needed at all. At the same time, it was an important post, which could only be given to a reliable officer accustomed to carrying out orders quickly and efficiently, without ever questioning them. Finally, both the rank and the posting suggested that Pavola was a performance-oriented officer who knew how to keep his superiors happy. An often overlooked trait, but vital for one's advancements. I already told that fat fuck no, says Pavola, skipping the pleasantries. We'll deal with Gallius in our own way. So, you know, 2 approaches, enemy of my enemy, or just invoke the dead commander in the other town that we helped take down. I feel that's the better way. Like Karina's did, trust me, you go at Gallius alone, you'll fail. Take help when it's offered. Nobody knows what happened in Teron, says Pavola grimly. I do. I was there. We offered our help to Carinas, but his answer was the same as yours, and now he's dead, and Antida's position is stronger than ever. Don't make the same mistake. Very well, we can try it your way first, but on one condition. The Imperial Guards will absorb and replace the Aurelian legionaries. We don't need 2 armed groups in the city. One's more than enough to keep the peace. It's only fair. And off we go. So we have sorted that out. We could now report back. Let me think. Do we report back now, or do we do something else first? I think we might actually... We need points for Streetwise, and we can't bump lock... Like, we can now bump lockpicking up to... Can we? No, once we turn the quest in, we could bump lockpicking up to 6, which is in fact enough to open that save down in the well. But then we will sort of lock ourselves into that path. So that's not the smartest idea, since we're gonna need some Streetwise before that. We could do something else in the slums, though. Thinking maybe that might be a better idea. Let's report back. We don't have to follow up on this anyway right now, so we can sort of hand in the quest for our just reward, and then just see what happens next. And we'll also pretty much see that Strabos is far from a reliable employer. Here we go. What do you have for me about the conspirators? Whom did you get on board? Legatus Pavola, Lady Lorenza Kalani, and Lord Senna. All 3? Not bad for a farm boy, I'm impressed. Unfortunately, we have bigger problems now. And we gain some new points. Bigger problems? The fucking boatman. After that stunt that Nellius pulled, the Rista took the local chapter straight to Gallius. They are working for him now, propping up his regime 1 corpse at a time. Someone must have talked, so they paid me a visit while you were making the rounds. They wanted names, I gave them yours. Fuck you a little bit. So he basically gave our name to the assassins. Who's the Rista? The Rista runs the local boatman chapter. She is something of a cunt, but what else can you expect from a woman who prefers killing to raising children? She did the mercenary work for years. Joining the boatman was her way of settling down. Does it mean that Gallius knows? If he knew, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. He doesn't know yet, but with the boatman on it, it's only a matter of time. How'd they find out? It's their job now, and apparently they are better at it than I thought. Well, you didn't think it was going to be easy, did you? And why did you hand over my name? Like, it's your plot? You're working for me, aren't you, you fucking shit? That's what you have to do with it. God's help Linus if I find out that he fucked me and sent me an idiot. And what stops me from selling you to the boatman? Selling me? So you do have some ambitions. Good. You might prove to be useful after all. But to answer your question, I'm the guild master of the most powerful guild. What's a crime for other people is merely an indiscretion for someone of my status. Who was asking questions? Hamza, who else? Sorry, I keep forgetting that you just arrived. Darista, she's the brain. The boatmen follow her because she knows how to use her head. Business has been good ever since she took over, and that's what counts. So she brings in contracts, and old Hamza makes sure they are carried out to the client's satisfaction. You can say that Darista runs the guild and Hamza manages the manpower. Can he be bought? Any useful vices? You're full of ideas, aren't you, boy? If I could buy him, why would I need you? Hamza is a straight edge. He'll never go against the guild. Unless he thinks he's saving it. You really think you're that good? If Hamza doesn't like what you have to say, it will be a short conversation. You realize that, don't you? I'll be fine. What's your plan? I told the boatmen that I'll let them know where they can find you, and that's exactly what I will do, but only when you're good and ready. I'm sure that someone with your skills would be able to run circles around a boatman, but if my confidence is misplaced, beg Pavola to give you some of his men. Don't the guards have some kind of grudge against the boatman? You can use one of our houses for this purpose. You have all the privacy you need, and should things turn bloody, the servants are well trained and well paid to keep their mouths shut. So we use the boatmen to keep the guards in check, and the guards to keep the boatmen in check. Do we have any real allies? Real? You mean permanent? Nothing is permanent in this world. Things change, goals change, people change. Yesterday's ally is today's bitter enemy. Karina's was a fanatic. Pavola is a reasonable man without any illusions of grandeur. Why shouldn't we work with him? That's not much of a plan. Do you expect me to do your job for you? I'm giving you the boatman on a silver platter. Strabus gives you a critical look and sighs. If everything fails, at least buy us some time. Send them on some wild goose chase. I'll need a name. Lord Massalis. I've never liked him, and I'm pretty sure the feeling is mutual. Might as well kill two birds with one stone. Alright. Okay, so we have gained the requisite skill points, I think. How far can we take this? 7? That could be enough. That could be enough. How much money do we have? We have 864. Okay. I'm gonna save here because I may want to roll this back. Because I want to see if this locks us out of switching sides to Gallius, which might make more sense because it actually gives you some more options when it comes to seeing all the side content or other quest chains. So if we flip on the merchants now, we'll actually benefit from it more from a metagaming perspective. Let's see. I'm gonna bump up the streetwise and I'm gonna have a stab at this. What do you have for me? About the assassins. Are you ready to deal with the boatmen? Yes, we are. I'll make the arrangements. Wait for the boatmen at the villa. Alright. So we'll leave for the villa and see whether we can turn this around. Are you ready? Yes, I am. Old Hamza was a man of few words. He never had much use for them in his line of work. You get a job, you get it done, you get paid. If you do a good job, there will be more jobs. What's there to talk about? Very simple, man. Hamza joined the boatmen when he was 14, when things were simple. These days everything was changing too fast and it didn't sit well with him. The boatmen never bowed down to nobody, and that was a good thing. Made Hamza proud. These days the business was good, but the guild was practically eating out of Gallius' hand, and Hamza wasn't sure he liked where things were going. That's our inn. The goal, says Hamza, his voice hoarse and low. You hear nothing but regret in his voice, regret that things have gone far enough to require his involvement. Tell me what I need to know and I'll give you a warrior's death fast and clean, says Hamza, skipping the pleasantries. It may not seem like a good deal right now, but trust me, it is. I've heard about you, Hamza. I'm surprised to see a man of your reputation doing Gallius' bidding. Is his case that righteous? Hamza's eyes narrow with anger. I serve the guild, not Gallius, he says slowly. Is it what you truly believe? Everyone knows that Darista is eating out of Gallius' hand. She does nothing but pass you his orders. And what do you expect me to do about it? To serve your guild while there's still a guild to serve. What do you mean? What do you think Lord Mero will do when he learns that the boatman joined Gallius? Hamza nods to himself and looks away. Darista won't like it. I'm sure she won't mind if she's dead. I've heard enough, says Hamza, gesturing to his men. Wait, why take my life when all you want is a name? I'm sure I can be useful to you in the future. Alright, says Hamza suddenly, which makes you wonder if the threat was real. Give me a name and get out of here. Lord Massalis. Hamza raises his eyebrow and gives you a hard look. Massalis is loyal, everyone knows it. Which is why he was chosen. He's the last person anyone would suspect. Makes sense, agrees Hamza. What's in it for him, though? Have you ever laid eyes upon a noble who didn't want more power? That's simple, eh? Alright, get out of here. Return to Strabos. So we've basically sent him on a wild goose chase, and we haven't really succeeded in flipping him. Let's see. That's probably not good enough. That might actually be requiring Streetwise 8. I want to try this at the later stage then. For now, let's pursue some more side activities. Because there is still something to do. Like, this is sort of like, sorry about the reloading here, but this is sort of how the game is I wouldn't say meant to be played, because of course you can do this a different way, but if you don't really want to screw the game up for you, or if you really want to see most of the content, you will eventually sort of start experimenting with the skill thresholds and the sort of the meta aspect of it. Let's see, you're a trader, I need to make some money. Looking for something special, curved swords, okay, I heard those warriors from Hammerfell have those. Spiked pauldrons, that sort of thing. Look no further, for you're standing in what one day will be known as the Exotic Emporium. Alright, do you have anything special? Every item you see here is special, chosen with care and deliberation. Alright, he wants to sell as an axe. I'm not really interested. But we browse the other wares and we get rid of this one. I think we have to sell him 2 sulfur to make this work. What? Oh yeah, the ring. And some of the weapons, I'm pretty sure. And that armor. Yeah, okay, that'll work. Alright, the reason I'm doing this is because this is so far the one way I personally have found to resolve a fairly nasty situation in the slums. And we're gonna lose most of that money, but we're gonna recuperate some of it as well. So let's head on to the arena, so we can head in for the slums again. And let's try and do our job for this youthful young gentleman here who is so, you know, in dire straits with his gambling debt. Come in? Okay, there he is. Right. We will leave that alone for now, because I want to conserve the points. That is not going to go anywhere. Because the thing that's down there will help us eventually with the Abyss, but right now that's not really a priority for me. We will head on down here and have our first little encounter. A dirty looking man pops out of nowhere, blocking your way. Well, 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 says the man, almost too fast to understand. What do we have here? A new arrival? Nah, too clean for that. A lost sheep that strayed far away from the shepherds. That's more like it, ain't it? Glancing around, you see more figures crawling out of the ruins to join his game. Thought I was here all by myself, did ya? Says the man, grinning proudly. Think again. I'm working for the guild, so if you know it's good for you, you best be on your way. The man turns pale and starts mumbling something, tears running down his face. Suddenly he pulls out a knife and starts cutting off one of his fingers, wincing in pain. You notice that he's only 4 fingers on his left hand, so it's not the first run-in with the guild. So apparently he's already taken it upon himself to punish himself before we can do it. Bit of a grim one, that one. But yeah, that's how this game is. So here we have our friends that will fleece us of all our cash. You see a small trading plaza up ahead. Rough-looking men are patrolling the area, collecting the revenues regularly and harassing random passers-by. I haven't seen you before, says a large sweaty man who seems to be in charge here. Who might you be? I'm just passing through. Well, you're passing through my area like you own it. You didn't ask my permission to enter it, did you? Now we have a problem, all because of your ignorance of our customs. What are you going to do about it? I'll pay. Of course you'll pay. 1,000 Imperials now. 1,000 Imperials for passing through? Will you look at him, says the man, feigning outrage. Comes here uninvited, then complains about our levies as if he has a choice. Alright, we'll pay the Imperials because everything else leads to a fight. A man who can pay for his mistakes is always welcome here, says the man accepting your money. There has to be another way to deal with this without fighting them, but I'm not sure what it is for the moment. And I'm really just doing this because I want to show off the part of the quest that the youth gave us with the parcel that we have to quote-unquote deliver. And this is where the target of our delivery is. And I say target for a reason. Right, Neros, there we go. What do you want? Asks Neros, a skinny man with a scarred face. I have a package for you. You owe me 3,000 Imperials. You out of your fucking mind? Asks Neros, taking the package and starting to unwrap it. As he pulls on some cord, the package explodes with a loud bang, splattering the room with blood and throwing you across the room. And there he goes. Neros' men rush inside. They look at what's left of their boss, then at you. What the fuck happened here? Demands one of them. I don't know. Someone asked me to deliver a package. You do that often? Asked the thug. Deliver packages for other people? Do you really think that I try to blow up your boss while standing next to him? I've got played, but if you help me find the fucker, I promise that he'll pay for it. Alright, let's say I believe you. What do you need? Did your boss buy a gambling debt recently? He buys them all the time. It's good business. And we'll describe the youth. The Callous kid? I thought we had him. He nearly shot himself when we had a little chat. Who knew, eh? You can find him in the Palace District. We'll leave. So yeah, Neros is dead, and we kind of, you know, had a bit of an unwilling hand in it, but yeah, 3,000 would have been a little too good to be true. Let's have a quick look at the temple district it leads, not that there's much we can do here. Suddenly the maze-like streets and alleys open into a large square occupied by an old temple and a busy bazaar surrounding it. First time? Asks a tall man dressed in comfortable robes, smiling pleasantly. I'm Clemens, the local doctor. You seem to be doing well. Or what with people always cutting their fingers off here? For someone who lives in the slums, you mean? Smiles the doctor. It's not that bad, I assure you. Think of it as a poor province of a vast empire. Just because it's poor doesn't mean one can't do well here. There's nothing you can't buy here if you have the coin. What is this area? It's our capital. This is where Levier holds his court and rules over his subjects. Since it's the safest area in the slums, everyone comes here to buy and sell without worrying about being robbed. Levier gets a cut, so everyone's happy. How'd you end up here? A horse that was in my care decided that it would rather die than live another day, and I had to take the blame. Well, in all honesty, it was my fault. Still, I never would have imagined that one animal, no matter how valuable, would outweigh years of my loyal service. Thus, I lost my job, my house, my wife. Well, wives are an easily replaceable commodity, but I'd be lying if I told you that it didn't hurt. And what happened then? I came here to die. In fact, I think I did die after a fashion and then discovered that there's a life after death. I put my considerable talents to good use and started stitching wounds and mending broken bones. Don't give me that look, it's all the same. So yeah, he's a horse doctor. In fact, it's easier with people, much higher survival rate. You see, horses are very delicate animals, noble even. A man? Nothing but an oversized cockroach that can live anywhere and survive almost anything. Almost anything? They brought me a man with a gut wound once. It was about as messy as you can imagine. Blood everywhere, guts dragging behind him, messy. So I did what any doctor worth his salt would do. Cut as much as I could, stitch up the rest, then close the wound and hope for the best. I thought he was a goner for sure, but he clung to life as if it was actually worth living. He fought tooth and nail for it and managed to crawl out. Of course, he couldn't eat much or drink, but he made it through just to end up sitting in the dirt with an outstretched hand begging for people for some scraps and coins. Where am I going with this? If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, don't hesitate to call on me. Got it down to a science by now. What can you tell me about Levier? He runs the 40 Thieves. That tells you all you need to know. They say he was born here, so the slums are his home. Obviously, he can afford to live anywhere he wants, but he stays here. Takes a rare kind of man to do that. I mean, let's face it, the grass is greener over there, but it means nothing to him. So what's he after then? Power, what else? Look what he's done with the guilds. They were always a local power, but in my father's time they were staying in the shadows. Now they rule it openly in the way houses do. We live in interesting times, my friend, that's for sure. So we get mostly a little bit of background information here. Since if we approach the thieves and try to get to Levier, what the fuck do you want? Fuck off, you have nothing to do here. That's pretty clear message. Now, let's see. Meeting with Hamza. We could try it again with Streetwise Age. talk to Pavola if we want the boatman. What we could also do is flip now. We could flip now and get over to Gallius and just turn in Strabos, because after all there are assassins after us and we are not entirely sure if we want to save, if we want to face them, just so Strabos can hang us out to dry again next time something comes up, you know? So that might be a wise decision. For now, I think we will try to make some of our money back by going to the Callous home and, you know, talking to our friend, the youth. This seems to be the Callous resident. The youth who gave you the exploding package will be overjoyed to see you. We'll go inside. You? How? Asked the youth, turning pale. How did I survive your little surprise, you mean? I got lucky. You, on the other hand. What's going on here? Demands an imposing man in his 60s. Explain yourself. And we'll tell him what happened. The old man cringes, then suddenly backhands his son, sending him to the floor. I apologize, he says in a tone that suggests that the matter is now closed. I trust that 400 Imperials will be sufficient for your inconvenience. He killed a man and almost got me killed. He killed a thug who dared threatening him. The only thing my son has done that I approve of. A gambling debt he will have to answer for. As for you, I suggest to mind your own business in the future. None of it would have happened if you hadn't gotten involved. And if I don't see it this way? I have guards, gestures the old man. Even if you manage to overcome them somehow and take my son's life, then what? You will be hunted and killed. Over what? Be reasonable, take the money and leave. We'll take the money and leave, so we get 400 and some skill points. Let's see, could we theoretically now get to 8? We could. Okay, I'll just quickly try this again. Let's overwrite that save. Wait, when did I? No, of course not. Hang on. I just want to make sure that I don't spend these points permanently, so I'm gonna have to take a look when I spent them, so I can make a save game to fall back on. Where are we now? Okay, we haven't spent them. Very nice. Sorry about this, but this is sort of the game that if you want to at least show off some of the content or try not to miss too much, then it really encourages you to do this sort of thing. Right, going to 8 now. So we'll go back to Strabos. And we will see that we go back and flip things around on old Hamza. Let's see if this is going to be enough. So we will go to the villa again and we will go through his dialogue again. I'm not going to read it out entirely, of course, just to see if we can pass the skill check now. We are ready. Here comes Hamza. We tell him about his reputation and we will tell him that Tarista is now eating out of Gallius' hand. Serve your guild, my friend. Yeah, Lord Meru. And I'm sure she won't mind if she's dead. Do what needs to be done. We're done here, get out. Okay, that worked. Right, so Streetwise A is enough to flip him. What I really want to know now is if we will already seg into the... okay, we'll buy him enough time to finish what he started. Let's see, this might actually go on to resolve the plot in favor of the Merchants Guild yet, if I talk to him next. Let's see how he responds. You're alive, proclaimed Starbucks. What of Hamza? He's been dealt with. You've done well. Go rest. We'll have a big day tomorrow. You don't seem to be worried. Not now. Rest till morning. Okay. Yeah. This is the outcome already, so let's just go through this side of things and then go back to before and make a decision on what we actually want to do. It was flawless. Maelstrab was beaming with joy and enthusiasm. Lord Gallius died in his sleep. It's a royal, no expenses spared treatment. He could have died convulsing on the floor, choking on his own tongue, but it would have been disrespectful to the lords of the city. Before the city could be woken up, Serenus was crowned and proclaimed to be the true heir and the next lord of House Aurelian. Pavola vowed to keep the city safe, which sent the right message to anyone who had different ideas. So what do we do now? Have a chat with Serenus. I didn't spend a fortune on having his uncle killed only to have someone else whisper in his ear. Explain to him how things work, will you? I'll try. So, yeah. That's one way. And it's probably not even a bad way, but I think we'll just explore the other option as well next time. And just go to Gallius and turn in Strabos. And, you know, hand over the conspiracy. But we'll do that next time, so I thank you very much for watching. I hope I see you then, and bye for now.